Hi everyone, Moo here with another video for you guys. This one is user requested. Philip, thank you so much for sending me that message. He says he was finally able to max out Little Oyster. Congratulations, Little Oyster is super fun to play. And his question pertains to the coin earning potential of Little Oyster. And actually, the greatest benefit of using Little Oyster is that he can earn very, very good base coin without any booster items once you get him to skill 6. And that's kind of necessary because at skill 6 he generates enough little oysters at the bottom of the screen where you can recharge his ability over and over and over and over again. And that's kind of the gimmick. You create long chains with him. Long chains convert into a lot of coin, and a lot of coin convert into a fat wallet. So yes, that's what we all want. And now I'm going to give you guys a few tips about Little Oyster. The number one tip I can give you is you have to clock manage him. Very, very strictly, more so than any other Zoom. For him, those precious seconds count for a lot more. So he's very unforgiving if you don't manage that clock. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the link to the video that specifically addresses clock management is in the description below. If you're new, I especially encourage you to check that video out. It's going to give you some good tips and help you maximize your Zoom's potential, hopefully. So do check that out. And the second tip I'm going to give you with Little Oyster kind of relates to that. And usually if you've played with him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As you're about to approach the end of Fever Time, or maybe if Fever Time has already expired, generally you try to avoid dropping your combo by splitting the large chunk of oysters into two sections. Now when you're doing that, make sure that at least one of those sections falls within the 9 to 16 chain length range. That way it has a chance to create a time bubble for you. And again, those seconds really matter for Little Oyster. You're going to see the difference between the expectation and reality video. Although that one, the way I set this up is I wanted to show you guys kind of what the reality of Little Oyster is, in that usually it's kind of hard to charge a skill the very first time around, and that's unfortunately the reality of it. But once you do charge it, you're going to get him going, and it's like a perpetual motion machine. He's going to keep charging a skill. You're going to be using it over and over and over again. The expectation is that you can do it in the first 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds of the game. Sadly, at least with my luck, that is almost never the case. So I'm going to play the video for you guys while I continue talking. Now, Philip asked me what my average coin earnings with Little Oyster is. Unfortunately, I'm not the best Little Oyster player, but you know, the coach doesn't have to be as good as the player. The information is still gonna be good, and my averages with Little Oyster are around 2,700 base coin with no boosters at skill 6. Now, you can definitely get 4,000 or 5,000 base coin with Little Oyster if you clock manage him perfectly. You get lucky enough to get a few time bubbles when you do split up that group into smaller sections, and your stylus doesn't crap out on you mid-chain, and any number of other things, the positioning of the zoom. If everything clicks for you, you can definitely get some ridiculous numbers with Little Oyster. However, there's reality, and I encourage you to watch that video on the right as well, where we spent 20 seconds trying to charge his first kill because there was simply not enough of the Little Oyster My Zoom available. So you can see I've received quite a few time bubbles in the expectation video. I think I got about 5 or 6 maybe in that game, and that worked out very well because I didn't play all that well in that video, but we ended up getting quite a bit more base coin anyways. Just because of the clock management and getting those time bubbles, it worked out relatively well. The other thing I want to mention to you guys, for sticking it out for so long throughout my rant, I want to give you some rough numbers, some rough estimates for the kind of coin earnings you can expect based on the numbers you've cleared. So if you've cleared around 500 or 600 little oysters, you can expect to get around 2,000 to 2,500 base coin. If you've cleared 700 little oysters, you can expect to get around 3,000 base coin. Now, if you've cleared 900 to 1,000, you will certainly break the 4,000 base coin barrier. And, of course, anything after that is going to get even better. So, those are some rough numbers because coin is not based on Zoom's level. It's simply based on your chain length and things like that. So we can definitely, come up with some rough numbers for you guys. So as you can see, the clock management really kicks into effect. The expectation video has gone quite a bit longer, especially with those time bubbles that helped out tremendously. So you guys are going to be able to see exactly the difference in my Zoom cleared. Just 1 second here. I'm going to pause both videos so you can see the numbers. So in the expectation video, we were able to clear 817 little oyster my Zooms, and we leveled up. Awesome. And we ended up with almost 3,000 base coin, 2,980. On the reality side of things, we cleared 554. We ended up with 23.5. So not too bad, but of course we always want more coin. Sadly, with my luck, the reality is I can almost never get enough little oysters to get them going in the first 5 seconds of the 60 gameplay. So I hope, Philip, this answers your question. I hope this gives you some tips on how you can max out Little Oyster. The reason I did not include a 5 to 4 with coin booster video is because if you have the resources to use the 5 to 4 in the coin booster, I highly recommend you use someone better than Little Oyster for coin farming, such as Jedi Luke. Jedi Luke, if you get a super good game with him, he can get you anywhere from 20 to 25,000 base coin per game. So, investing in the boosters for someone like him, absolutely worth it. I don't think it's that worth it for Little Oyster because he can't really get to those kind of numbers. In fact, no other Zoom can. And one of the strengths of Little Oyster, again, I don't want to repeat myself too many times now, is that once you get his skill charged, essentially you're getting the same gameplay as you would if you were using the 5 to 4. Of course, the 5 to 4 is going to make it a little bit easier to charge up his skill initially, but that 5 to 4 costs 1,800 coin. Is that worth the minimal difference it's going to make in terms of the time? Because I've had games with the 5 to 4 where it still took me 20 seconds to get his first skill going. So I don't think it's worth it for Little Oyster. Feel free to play around with it. Let me know what your results are. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you some tips. And thank you guys so much for watching. Philip, congrats again on maxing Oyster out. See you guys next time.